Mike.
We are tracking some significant rain and snow already starting to fire up across the region. And it looks like, as Mark mentioned, the next 24 hours are going to be really touchy, expecting some very gusty winds and heavy mountain snow that looks like it will stick around this time. I'll tell you more about that coming up. But as we take a look at live radar right now, we're seeing some heavier bands of rain making their way from the southwest there up towards the northeast. And that is moving into Seattle as we speak. So over about the next hour or so, we're going to see some of that lighter rain become heavier. That's one of the pieces of good news here, though, is I expect the heaviest rain and the gustiest winds to take place overnight tonight. And that's good because a lot of people will be off the roads and hopefully safe at home. Seeing some heavier storms moving in towards Paulsbo right now. There's no thunderstorm potential there, but again, rainfall rates will be heavy periodically through the night. So the big three things are rainy, blowy, and snowy. There are some river flood threats in place there. I'll tell you more about that. Gusts up to about 65 miles an hour, and this is going to be a real shot in the arm for resorts, but not so much for the drivers. A wind advisory doesn't expire until 10 a.m. tomorrow. King 5's Christine Pay is live on Whidbey Island, where the generators are ready to go just in case. Christine?
Yes, they are, Mike. In fact, I would say in the last half hour, those winds that you mentioned are definitely picking up, but they are coming in sporadic, large gusts. So we are feeling that here in Whidbey Island. In fact, power outages are so common here that businesses are making sure they have backup plans.
We got a lemon right here.
On a cold, stormy December night, customers craving seafood can rely on this restaurant in Langley to stay open.
You know, we're all very used to having power outages.
To keep business going when all else is dark, the Saltwater Fish House and Oyster Bar invested in a generator.
Here at this business, we're lucky enough that we have a nice large generator outside that keeps us up and running, so we're a nice safe space when there's a big storm coming into town.
The restaurant manager says the island has a lot of trees, and during a big storm, those trees often bring power lines down. They recall a time a couple weeks ago when an outage kept the power out for at least 2 days.
That with these rainstorms and when we get a wind gust over 60 miles an hour.
Friday night storm may be coming, but Hein and his staff are ready for the weekend.
We've recently serviced our generator to make sure that it runs because I don't want to have an outage where it's not working.
And they're not the only ones preparing. Puget Sound Energy, they are also watching this weather very closely. In fact, they do have extra staff on standby to respond to those outages. Live in Whidbey Island, I'm Christine Pay, King 5 News.
Christine, thank you. Parts of Mason County are under a flood watch tonight. The Snoqualmie River is going to be inundated with water coming from the Olympics. The Mason County Sheriff's Office says it is ready to respond should the Snoqualmie hit flood stage. And remember, after it rains, it's going to get cold.
What we are seeing a lot of in our early mornings is that snap freeze, those freezes that come in. We're seeing a lot of black ice on our rural parts of the communities. So we ask everybody again to plan ahead, leave early, drive at lower speed conditions, assess the roadway as soon as you get on it.
So we talked about rain and wind. Let's get back to snow. King 5's Glenn Farley spent the day at Snoqualmie Pass, and he's got a very important message if you decide to brave the roads.
So our weather folks are telling us that we could see a mixed bag tonight. It's been about 32 degrees right at freezing up here at the pass. We could actually see a little bit of a warm up and rain, which of course will turn back into freezing rain with snow on top of that. But the big event is expected to arrive about the middle of Saturday morning. And the Department of Transportation is asking people to avoid taking the passes if at all possible. Winter is here, and this weekend promises to get worse. The graders and plows are already out, and so are the Washington State Department of Transportation incident response vehicles, as is the Washington State Patrol. There are plenty of spinouts.
Spinouts have you seen so
far? I saw about 4 or 5.
Already?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You good? You got four-wheel drive and chains?
I got four-wheel drive, yes.
Steve Sachs came up from Seattle for a little dayside recreation.
I didn't see as many snow plows as I would like to.
Taylor Beach and his dog Kemper heading to Chelan. The Department of Transportation expecting 2 feet of snow this weekend. It says tomorrow could be especially bad.
You're going to Chelan.
Yes.
When are you going back?
Probably Monday, yeah. So we're going to see what the weather does, what it looks like in the past.
When do you plan to come back?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's supposed to be pretty bad.
Yeah, we're watching all the stuff, making sure that we pay attention to the forecast and what's going on.
Echo Alden says she's also considering going back to western Washington through the Columbia River Gorge.
We get a lot of spinouts with all-wheel and four-wheel drive vehicles.
Trooper Rick Johnson worked the pass for 9 years and is reminding everyone it's not the going as much as the stopping that gets people in trouble. And even if you have four-wheel and all-wheel drive, you must still carry chains, and you should know how to use them.
The reason the pass closes is because cars get spun out, semis get jackknifed. We have to clear that before Department of Transportation can bring the plows through, treat the road to get it passable. So it all starts with people not adhering to the restrictions.
So as you might guess, there are fines for not having chains on your vehicle when required. And even though most of the time a four-wheel or an all-wheel drive vehicle doesn't have to have the chains on, again, they have to be with you. The price of that fine, over $500. At Snoqualmie Pass, Glenn Farley, King 5 News.
We know putting chains on your tires can get tricky. For some tips to make it a little bit easier, text the word chain to 206-448-4545 and we'll send you a link.